At the end of the Berlin carpet bombing exercise, or the end of the thing, there were, like I said, the last program that was still running past the carpet bombing test was the anti-aircraft tests. And they ran an extra couple weeks or a week or so. I don't remember exactly what the details are of that. But at the official end, they blasted the music. It was a pretty good song that I liked at the time. I think I liked it. I think I might, or they might have chosen it for themselves. It's a classical song. I don't know. Um, but at the end of the exercise, I ordered the music played good and loud in celebration of all their hard work because about 15,000 people or so, or however many people were involved in the tests for they had been building, they had built the towers and been bombing the towers and doing all kinds of tests for the future, on explosives and planes and concrete and building stronger concrete bunkers. They had tried all kinds of different things of like wire rebar meshes, different size meshes. They had tried all kinds of different combinations to make something that could withstand a heck of a shock, to make some really strong concrete. But at the end of the test, after the buildings had blown, they would build a building, a really strong building, as strong as they could, and then they would bomb the bleep out of it, and to see how it would do, to shock load and all that other stuff, to try and build the stronger building. And that's what the tests really were in Berlin or whatever. And what the towers were really for is to test out explosives and stronger steel, stronger concrete. That's what the tests were about. Anyway, at the end of the point of the period in time, I felt, or other people felt, that they had learned everything that they can learn about concrete and explosives, and I ordered an end to the test finally. And finally, the test, I felt like I was just wasting money. So finally, the test ended, and they played the music good and loud, and the people emerged from their concrete bunkers to the sunlight and everything else like that, just like they say, pretty much. And the rebuilding of the town and fixing it up and basically tearing down all the old, testing things or repairing or doing whatever, basically fixing the testing site into a livable area began. They had learned everything they could learn, and there'd be no more bombs. Any unexploded ordnance were cleaned up, picked up. Things were decontaminated, and they basically cleaned up the mess pretty much. Everybody was still being paid, but they were being paid to build houses now, using all the information that they had learned from the explosive tests, like how brick wasn't good enough, different kinds of walls, different kinds of rebars, what rebar size were good for what strengths. It's basically they're using explosives to test out how strong something really is, pretty much. And at the end of which time, like I said, they also had some pretty good cars. Anyway, at the end of the testing, there was still some anti-aircraft testing going on, which lasted a little while longer because they wanted to try out a couple different combinations, which they did, and it ended. And then basically the bulldozers rolled out and cleaned up the whole place, pretty much. And I ordered music played really loud, you know. Um, and then they turned it down during they actually ran the music longer, but basically as they cleaned up, the I think they cleaned up to different songs or something like that. I'm not exactly sure exactly what they did. It's in the historical archives really of what exactly that they did, but it was basically a great time, and people were paid, and there was music, and the place was cleaned up, and they used aeroid sirens to play music basically to the workers, which for a while, I don't know, it was something they did, or radio broadcasts. I think the speakers were more for like the directing of the groups. I'm not exactly sure. You're gonna have to look in the archives. I was ordering things to be done, and they were doing them and stuff, and it was this big long procedure really that took like years to do. But at the end of which time, they understood about concrete very well. They understood about explosives. They understood about all kinds of different things, and I counted it as a huge success. And basically, is what made strong rebar and strong concrete and strong steel basically what it is today. Um, I was very happy with myself, and I was really proud of my people, and that's basically what happened back then. There was no war. Everybody was safe underground in the bunkers. the bunkers were used as ways to be testing out, because walls had to be formed and poured, and then they would blast them with explosives and stuff. And they're just testing out how good concrete and rebar really is. The rest of the world is still functioning around it, and is basically just one site, one project of mine. To get better concrete, better rebar, better this, better that, better everything, basically. And they did. And there was also drug stuff and also nuclear testing going on. The world was in a testing phase, which was done and I paid for personally. And then it was over. All the helmets were safety helmets, like hard hats. And anyway, I counted it a success, and then the world built farms and cleaned up and used all its information to create what is modern day civilization, and part of my history. So anyway, I was real proud of myself, and I was really proud of my people, and no one died, and we had a 0 casualty rate, or nearly 0 casualty rate, other than the accidents, worker accidents. Tractors didn't have roll cages, so there's still some of that, unfortunately. But it went off without any serious problems. I think there might have been some things. I think mostly people got their thumbs cut off because the dam, when the cannons came back, when they were test firing the cannons, there's something about the cannon and the door or whatever. When you trigger something about the trigger or whatever, it took off people's thumbs or something like that. That was the biggest problem, is that people lost their fingers sometimes because of the cannons, because of recoil. And safety guards were made for that. The pull string, that kind of thing, stuff like that was also developed so they wouldn't hurt themselves on the recoil of the cannon. And their little safety things. In fact, the tongue was made longer because the cannon would recoil that far. Someone actually got their midsection kind of taken out by it, actually, by accident. They pulled the string and didn't realize where they were standing, and it hurt real bad. That's why I had to have a hospital on the site too. There were little accidents like that, but there was nothing really serious, so that I was aware of at the time. So anyway, it was actually, I think it was pretty fun for people. I mean, some people got a little hearing problem because of the cannons and stuff and the explosives, but no one got hurt, and just lots of records, lots of pictures, and as far as I knew, it was a great time. I was really proud. So I don't know, that part anyway. Past that part, past the playing of the music and all that stuff. But, before that, there was no war, there was no nothing. It was all just research and development. And it was really good. So they made a lot of great cannons because of it. And technology really increased. And they got really much better tires. I would say that the Auschwitz and the testing phase of Berlin was a very huge success. 2 thumbs up. They blasted a lot of buildings. No one was inside. Basically trying to see, what shapes of what buildings would stand up. It's kind of like, if you don't have models and computers and you have real world stuff, using explosives to figure out how strong a building really is. Should you make the concrete out of 5-inch concrete or 6-inch concrete or 8-inch concrete, or should you make it out of 2-inch concrete? What's the perfect size for what load bearing weight? So they would build a building, and then basically just the walls and stuff, and then they would blast the hell out of it. Boom, boom, boom. Basically knocking out to see how it collapses. And basically, and then they would write down notes and stuff, and correlate the data, and then build another building, and see what happens then. And when they got something the right sizes and shapes, and they understood how strong concrete would be, and how strong rebar is, and how strong brick is, and exactly how much force concrete and rebar can take. It's how we figured out how to build. It was my way of figuring it out. And it was expensive for me, but hey, I mean, I was rich, so I paid for it. Didn't mind. I had a lot of fun. It was a great fun, having my people build, I mean, the normal society was going on all around it. It was only 15,000 people. And of a world of millions of people, they were flying around doing whatever, and I had my little testing site. They had wood and clay buildings or whatever, or dirt buildings, and I had my little set of advanced research, which was concrete and rebar and stuff like that, and it was great, as far as I know. I mean, I thought it went well. I didn't hear any complaints at the time, and there was a zero casualty rate, or almost zero. Like a broken hand and a broken thumb, and some cracked ribs were all that I think were reported at the time. No casualties, no fatalities. Maybe there were a couple that weren't reported or something. I think there was a couple horses that also got killed. That was the worst of it, and stuff. I did use live sheep for the nuclear testing, which I probably shouldn't have done, but that was my best idea, and they died or shot because they were suffering. So some of them were on fire. So anyway, sad. I know it's horrible. Lamb chop got it good, unfortunately, and I feel bad afterwards. Looking back at it, I feel really bad. I never should have done that. And oh well, cruelty to animals. I know. But it only happened once or twice or a couple times. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess I could have used mice. I feel bad now, actually, thinking about it. So anyway.